So let's back up in the syllabus. I wanted to talk about under student materials, backing up your digital files. So I highly recommend that you find a cloud-based service. If you're just using a thumb drive, know that they go bad. They can just plain old go bad, or they can temporarily go bad just from, say, static electricity, putting it in your pocket. So if you're going to go that route, you probably want to have 2 or 3 of them so you have a backup of your backup. Please read the diversity statement on your syllabus, and hopefully you agree with this and that you're not the kind of person that thinks you're any better or any worse than anyone else because of the color of your skin, and that you will not discriminate against anyone based on any discriminatory elements. So you're in college now. It's time to either be or remain open-minded, respect each other, don't judge each other. Okay, so this quiz question. In class or online, we will treat each other with, answer is respect. And related to that, just be careful what you say around other people if you're in the classroom, what you have up on your computer screen, what kind of jokes you're telling with other people. Some people are much more sensitive than others, and that's just another thing that we have to respect. If you will be using any of the computer labs, whether in class or in the library, just please have respect for them. No food or drink near them. Even if you're carrying water around with you, make sure you place it on the ground so that if there is a spill, it doesn't end up in the computer or in the keyboard. If you have a verifiable disability, or even if you think you do, go see Student Services. They can make special accommodations for you and give you some helpful tips for working in class. Make sure that if you have paperwork from them that you need to present to me for any special considerations, that you get that to me by the second class. If we meet in person, you can email it to me. Student Services may even offer to email it on your behalf directly to me. And I've heard a lot of success stories with this where students maybe thought they had attention deficit in high school, went to see the Student Services, found out that indeed they did, or from a referral to a doctor or whatever it is. But the bottom line is, if you've got something that you think you need help on, get help. That goes along with mental health as well. If you're feeling depressed or anything like that, go to Student Services. It's free. It's part of your tuition. They're very good about it. There's no sense letting things get worse, especially if you feel suicidal or anything like that. Get that taken care of. It's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Just like if you have a backache, you go to the doctor. If something's not working quite the way it should in your head, you go see a doctor as well. And please know that you can't self-medicate. Some people try to fool themselves doing that for a while, and then they end up hooked on drugs. So be very careful. Give yourself the medical attention that you deserve. So I had a student thank me one time for being real with the way that I grade. He said he realized that based on his performance that he had a drug issue, and he dropped class and went in and got that taken care of. Student conduct, we pretty much covered that with respect. Just treat everyone with respect. Kind of related to your conduct, know this, that if you want to work in a creative industry, you're already starting your reputation right now. So if your fellow students, say one of them gets hired by a firm that you want to work for, and then you go in for a job interview, they're going to check with that person, ask them if they know you, find out what kind of performance you did. If you were always, working really hard, doing more than you needed to, they're going to tell them that. If you came to class every day, or based on your work, it looked like you were stoned every day, they're going to tell them that as well. Let's take care of another item by answering a quiz question. Every file that you turn into me in my classes will be named with the following convention. You'll start with your last name, an underscore, then your first name, an underscore, then a brief description of what the project is, and then finally the extension. So starts with your last name is the answer to the quiz question. And here's an example. If your name is Jane Doe and you are turning in a JPEG file of a logo project, then you would name it Doe, your last name, an underscore, Jane, your first name, an underscore, short description, followed by the extension. And just in case you're not familiar with an underscore, it's related to the hyphen, but instead of the hyphen, you hold down the shift key while you do the hyphen, and that is your underscore. The last part of the syllabus is a reiteration of some items and introduction of a couple new items in the form of an agreement. In the old days, I'd have students put their initials next to this and turn it in, but now with electronics, just by you answering the quiz questions takes care of that. And I don't need anything in writing anyway, because that's just the way a college class works. The syllabus is our agreement for the class. So just by you remaining a student, it means that you are agreeing that you have read the syllabus, have viewed the welcome videos, and have agreed to the statements on the back of the syllabus. So there's your answer, remaining. The second one is very important if you have a class that has any type of in-person meetings. That can be online via Zoom or, of course, face-to-face classes. So I'll make time for you during either the first or second meeting to get 5 student contacts in the class. And then if you miss a class, it's your responsibility to contact students to find out what was due. The reason being is I give the class, I'm not on the receiving end of the class taking notes and relating to all the dynamics that is new for each class. If you're on a fully online class, it's optional if you want to stay in contact with people. Do keep in mind that you can use the email, the inbox in the class to email classmates. I showed you earlier in the video how to do that, to send an email. In the drop down, instead of selecting me, you would select one or more of your classmates. Another thing that's on here that we haven't talked about is I understand that as a student in a college class that the works I produce may be used by the college to promote the class. Now, your work doesn't become the property of the college. It's still your intellectual property, but they can use it on their websites to promote the class or the college. We talked a lot about this one. Please remember it. Please never bring anything in the classroom to show that's not your own work. If you feel like you have to get by for 1 week, put a watermark on the part of it that is not yours that says placeholder. Another reminder to check announcements in grades at a minimum once a week. Twice a week is even better. If your class does not have any element of an in-person meeting, meaning Zoom or in the classroom, you can stop watching this video now. Okay, so for those of you that will be meeting with me once a week or more, I want to make sure that you ask questions when we're together, if at all possible. Now, I know sometimes you come up with a question after you leave for the day, but otherwise, please ask the question before you leave. And in fact, try to ask the question as close to the time that it comes up as possible. Usually I'll pause and say, anyone have any questions on that? Ask it then. It's much more difficult to ask a question later because both of us will have, to a certain degree, forgot about what we were talking about to start with. Also, if you wait and then do it by email, it's much harder for me to make sure that you understand what I'm saying. It's basically the difference between an in-person conversation and somebody typing a sentence, sending it over the internet, another person typing a sentence. It's just not a great way to communicate, especially when it's not a text. If I am explaining something during one of our meetings, even if you're not ready for that information, meaning that maybe you're late on the previous project and you're trying to work on that, stop what you're doing. Please listen and take notes. This is a true story that happened during one of my classes. It's a horrible way to work. It's disrespectful to the instructor. It just makes no sense at all. If you're in a class that has Zoom meetings only, no in-person instruction, then you may stop watching the video now. If you're in person with me, then there's just a couple things that I want to address here. No watching videos other than instructional videos in the class. This is been a problem in the past where students, even during break, will start watching funny videos, and then another person says, oh, well, have you seen this one? Have you seen it? And before you know it, even when class starts again after the break, the students just can't stop doing it. I've even had an experience where I was trying to help out another student, and I got caught up watching the videos because they were funny. But so we're just not doing that in classroom. Always bring earbuds or headphones with you to every single class. It's great if you get ahead of the game and you want to watch some more instructional video. It's also great if a lot of students have a question at one time and I'm making the rounds trying to get to you. Sometimes just by going back to a previous video, you can find the answer to your question. When we are just working in class, it's nice to have music playing. Not fair to you if I force you to listen to my music. So what I do is I make a Pandora radio station for the class, and I'll ask everyone to submit an artist that they want to be on the radio to represent their music choice. Now, a couple things. Don't send me a whole list of artists. Don't send me a genre of music. It needs to be an actual artist, a recording artist. Make sure that it's classroom appropriate, not aggressive, like super heavy music, that the words, the lyrics, the raps are not vulgar or degrading. I like to think of it as if you went on a road trip with someone that was older in your family, you could probably find a middle ground of music to listen to rather than driving 5 hours with no music at all. It's kind of fun because the Pandora radio is kind of smart enough to chunk the like styles of music together. So you might get 20 minutes of hip hop followed by 20 minutes of classical music followed by 20 minutes of classic rock. All right, that should take care of it. I look forward to a good semester with you.